Hello dear students, I am Manoj Bharti and I am going to teach physics to class 7th. Today we will start with our chapter number 2, motion. Well students, when something is not moving, we say that it is at rest. See, this toy vehicle is at rest, but when we provide some force to the toy vehicle, it comes in motion. Now we will define motion. Motion. If an object changes its position with respect to its surrounding with time, then it is said to be in motion. Means if something changes its position with respect to its surrounding and with time it changes its position, it is said to be in motion. Well students, could you ever find an object at rest appearing to be in motion at the same time? Yes, an object can remain in a state of rest as well as in a state of motion at the same time. You will better understand it by an example. Suppose you are traveling in a bus. You will observe that you are in motion with respect to the surrounding trees, but the friend that is sitting next to you would be at rest with respect to your friend. So at the same time you are in motion with respect to the trees, but you are at rest with respect to your friend that is sitting next to you in the same bus. So it is clear that we say that whether an object is in the state of rest or motion with respect to the surrounding or a fixed point, and that fixed point is called reference point. Here in this example the reference points were your friend and the surrounding trees, which help us to find whether you are in rest or in motion. So in other words, you may say that rest and motion are relative terms. Now we will discuss about types of motion. There are many types of motion, but broadly motions are classified into 3 types. These are translatory motion, circular motion and oscillatory motion. The first one is translatory motion. If all the points of an object change their place to the same distance in the same time, then the object is said to be in translatory motion. In this example, the toy car moves from point A to point B, and all the points that are forming the object covers the same distance in same time. That's why the motion is said to be translatory. Further, translatory motion is classified into 2 types of motion, that are rectilinear motion and curvilinear motion. If an object moves along a straight line, then the motion of the object is said to be linear or rectilinear motion. For example, when apple falls from the tree, it follows a straight path and hence the motion of the falling apple is rectilinear, or simply you may say linear motion. But if an object moves along a curved line, then the motion of the object is said to be curvilinear motion. Curved line means this type of line which is not straight. So it follows when a vehicle takes a turn, it follows a curvilinear path. So the motion is an example of curvilinear motion. The second one is circular motion. If an object moves along a circle or circular path, then the object is said to be in circular motion. Here, different points of the body covers different distance from the fixed point in the same duration of time. Suppose the rotation of a wheel. When it rotates, it represents a circular path, so its motion is circular. But this outer part of the tire covers more distance, and this part of the wheel covers less distance in the same time. So different parts or different points of the body covers different distance at the same time from the fixed point. So when something follows a circular path, the motion is said to be circular motion. Now, the orbit around which the earth revolves around the sun is not exactly circular in shape. It is some kind of elliptical oval shape, that is egg-like shape, but we consider it as circular shape. And if an object moves around another body along a circular path, then the motion of the object is called revolution. Suppose this ball represents Earth and it follows a circular path in its orbit around the sun. So this motion of Earth is called revolution. But if an object is along its own axis, then the motion of the object is called rotatory motion. For example, the spinning of a top. Here you can see in this image, and when the earth rotates, it follows this type of movement, that is, it spins along its own axis. Means suppose this is the earth and this is the axis of the earth, and it rotates and follows this type of motion, and this type of motion in which earth rotates on its own axis is called rotatory motion. The third one is oscillatory motion. If an object moves to and fro from its position of rest, then the motion of the object is said to be oscillatory motion. Now, if something follows to and fro motion, we say that it is in oscillatory motion. But what is to and fro motion? To understand to and fro motion, suppose that a boy is standing at a point O and there are two walls in the room. First wall we named it as wall A and second wall we named it as wall B, and the boy is standing at point O. Now this position O of the boy is called mean position because he is standing exactly in between these two walls. So it is the mean position, and these two positions are called extreme positions. Suppose boy is standing at rest at point O and starts moving towards wall A. Again from point A or wall A, it starts moving towards wall B. Again from wall B, it comes back to the mean position, and this type of motion is called to and fro motion. When an object moves from mean position to extreme position, then another extreme position, and comes back again to the mean position. The pendulum of the clock follows the same kind of position. It is first at the rest, then follows the extreme position, goes to the extreme position, again comes back to the mean position, and goes to the extreme position, again comes back to the mean position. So in oscillatory motion, an object moves from mean position to one extreme position, then to another extreme position, and then back to the mean position. First from mean position to one extreme position, then to another extreme position, and then again back to the mean position. See, in the oscillatory motion, an object starts moving from the mean position and goes to one extreme position, then from the extreme position to other extreme position, and then again comes to the mean position. And this type of motion is said as to and fro or oscillatory motion. Here examples are motion of pendulum of wall clock and the motion of a swing. Next, we shall discuss about repetitive motion. Repetitive, from the word it suggests that the motion which repeats itself is called repetitive motion, and repetition after regular interval of time is called periodicity. There is a certain period, So periodicity means repetition after regular interval of time. There are two types of repetitive motions. The first one is periodic motion and the next one is non-periodic motion. In the periodic motion, we can define it as if an object repeats its motion in regular interval of time, then it is known to be in periodic motion. The motion which repeats itself after a regular interval of time. It has a fixed interval of time after which the motion repeats itself. Then it is called periodic motion. Here you can take the example of motion of a pendulum of a wall clock. It repeats its motion after a fixed interval of time, that is 1 second, and hence the motion is periodic motion. There are many examples of periodic motion. Revolution of Earth around the Sun is also periodic, as it repeats its motion after a year. Next one is non-periodic motion. If an object does not repeat its motion in regular interval of time, then its motion is called non-periodic motion. For example, the rise and fall of sea water near the seashores due to the tides is non-periodic motion. The tides do not follow a regular interval of time. They can repeat at any time. So this type of repetitive motion is non-periodic motion. Now we shall define average speed. Students, average speed of an object is given by the total distance travelled by the object divided by the total time taken to cover the total distance. And that is, the formula of average speed is average speed equals to total distance covered upon total time taken. If you can remember the formula, you can easily write down its definition. Now we will define uniform motion and non-uniform motion. If an object covers equal distance in equal duration of time, then its motion is known as uniform motion. In the uniform motion, the graph follows a straight line. Suppose a car is traveling at a speed of 60 km per hour. So it is covering 60 km after every 1 hour. And hence when you draw the graph by plotting time on the x-axis and distance on the y-axis, you will get a straight line graph. Next one is non-uniform motion. If an object does not cover equal distance in equal interval of time, then it is said to have non-uniform motion. To understand it, suppose an object covers 3 km in first 5 minutes, again it covers only 1 km in next 5 minutes, and again in 5 minutes, next 5 minutes it covers again 3 km. So the distance here is not the same, so it is not uniform motion. And when you draw the graph from this given data, you will get a non-straight line graph. The graph here is not a straight line graph. It depicts a non-uniform motion. Now we have to define weight. Weight is what? It is a measure of the pull of the earth with which it attracts an object towards its center. Everything that we throws up comes down. This is because earth acts as a magnet. It has a force of gravity, and this force of gravity is called acceleration due to gravity. What is mass? Mass is the matter contained in an object, but when this acceleration due to gravity acts on the mass, it becomes weight. By the pull of the earth, the force that is exerted by an object is weight. So we may write the formula weight is equal to mass multiply acceleration due to gravity. We represent acceleration due to gravity by the symbol small g. Students, by Newton's second law, we know that force is equal to mass into acceleration. And here force is what? Here force is weight. Weight is equal to mass of the object, and here acceleration is due to the gravity. So weight is a kind of force. So we write the weight as capital M into small g, where M is the mass of the object and small g is the acceleration due to gravity. This small g has the units of Newton per kg. Here you can see Newton per kg, because weight acts as a force, so weight's unit is Newton. And here mass, it divides here, and mass has the units kg, so acceleration due to gravity has the units Newton per kg. It can be written as Newton per kg. And Newton per kg, or this is the per sign, means dividing sign, and here when it goes up its power is 1, and by the laws of exponents, when it changes its position and goes up, there is negative sign, so we say it Newton per kg. Now we will discuss the unit of weight. Weight is a kind of force. Since weight is the force with which the earth attracts the body due to the gravitational pull, it is the force by which an object is attracted towards the earth by the gravitational force. So the weight has units Newton, and we represent it by capital N symbol. Other unit of weight. Weight has another unit. 1 kg force is approximately equal to 10 Newton. 10 Newton is the force. Newton is the unit of force, and weight is a kind of force, so it has 10 Newton for 1 kg force. Next topic is comparison of weight and mass. This is very important topic. Mass and weight. It is the basic quantity and remains the same at all places. Whatever may be the mass of an object, but it would always remain same. It is invariant quantity. Again, if you go to the moon, your mass would be same as your mass was at earth, but your weight would not be same. Your weight may decrease when you go to the moon. Here it is not a basic quantity, as it is different at different places. Next one is, it is a quantity of matter had by an object. Matter is something that is matter contained in object, so it is a quantity of matter had by an object. It is the force acting on an object due to the gravitational pull of the earth. Weight is the force, and this force is due to the gravitational pull of the earth. Third point is, it is measured in kilogram. The third point is about units, and the units of the weight is Newton. The fourth point is, mass has no direction of action, because no force is acting on the mass, but weight acts always vertically downward towards the center of the earth. Mass of an object is never zero. Mass is the matter contained by an object, so it can never be zero, but weight can be zero, because it is affected by the acceleration due to gravity, so it can be zero if the acceleration due to gravity is zero, because weight is equal to mass into acceleration due to gravity. If g becomes zero, then weight would also be zero. Next point is, it is measured by a simple beam. Mass is measured by simple beam, but weight is measured by a spring balance. Here it is the image of spring balance. The weight which we have to measure is hanged here, and by the force of gravity it is pulled downwards, and we can see the weight by the reading. But in the beam balance, in the both sides we have to put some weight, so they cancel out the force of gravity, or they cancel out the acceleration due to gravity, and the mass can be measured by beam, simple beam. Thank you, students.